Hey, how you doing? Welcome. It is Dave Allred, the Real Barman here. Lately, I've been getting a lot of requests and questions from people. I'm going to have to start an Ask Dave show. They're starting to pile up. This question comes a few days ago from Jody in Richmond, Virginia, and she wants to know, what is the difference between mezcal and tequila? What in the hell is going on there? So I'm going to cover it right here. Let's talk about it. I'm going to hit the bullet points. I'm not going to give you the entire history of it. I don't want to bore you, but let's cover some details about what the difference is so you can be educated on this. So first of all, a lot of people don't know this, but all tequilas are mezcals. The definition of a mezcal is any spirit made from the juice of an agave plant. So they're both made from agave plants. So first of all, let's talk about what an agave plant is. So these grow in the deserts of Mexico, and they have these huge, long, pointy spears, and it looks like a cactus, or it should be in the cactus family, but technically it's not. It's its own species. But what happens is these aljimadores, these guys who go out and dig up these agave plants, there's actually a tequila called El Jimador, it's very average. They dig out these agave plants, they peel off the leaves, and they get to the heart of it, and it's the heart of it's called a piña, because it kind of looks like a pineapple. Piña in Spanish is pineapple. I'm very bilingual that way. And once they get to the heart of these things, then they can start extracting the juice. Now, first difference between the tequila and mezcal, tequila is made only from the blue agave plant. That's a rule. It has to be made like that. Mezcal can be made from, there's about 28 or 30 other agave plant species that mezcal can be made from. All right, but tequila, only blue agave. That's the only thing it can be made from. The main mezcal agave plant is called espadín. That's the main one, but it can be made from a lot of different ones. Also, quickly, the agave plant is very stubborn. It takes a long time to grow. So anywhere from, it can go as low as 4 years, but more commonly 6, 8, or 10 years. Some of these mezcal agave plants are like 15, 20 years, so they really have to plan ahead. And the other thing is, once they're harvested, they're done. No mas. They go bye-bye, adios. Unlike vodkas and other things where you can do grain or grapes, or with whiskey you got corn, you can harvest these things over and over again, and the plants keep growing. Not with agave plants, they're gone. So that's the first difference, the blue agave, and then all these other species for mezcal. And then after that, we get to the piña, and now we get into some other differences. So one of the main differences between mezcal and tequila is the production of it and the way they cook the piña. A lot of purists really like mezcal over tequila because mezcal is made kind of the same way that they've made it for hundreds of years. And tequila now is being kind of mass produced, so they have to do it in a more industrial way. So with mezcal, they take the heart of the piñas, they put them in a pit underground, and they have volcanic rock in there, and they start a fire, and they cover up the piña, and then it just roasts for about 24 hours. And because it's underground like that, it gets very smoky, and so you'll get kind of a smoky flavor in these mezcals that you taste. You don't want it too overpowering. Some of the mezcals are way overpowering smoky. You just want a subtle smoke in there. Some of the really nice ones have. And that's how mezcal does it. Tequila, on the other hand, a lot of times does these above ground ovens called autoclaves, and they're stainless steel and they're industrial, and they roast them in there, and then the smoky flavor is not really in there. But there's the first kind of difference between mezcal and tequila, and the flavors is the way they roast the piña. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about with the differences is the denomination of origin. And what the denomination of origin is the government or the state comes up with certain rules or locations that the spirit has to be made in order to be called that spirit. For example, in order to call it something champagne, it has to be made in the Champagne region of France. Same thing with cognac. It's brandy made in the Cognac region of France. So region has a big part to do with the denomination of origin. Also, rules on production. So for instance, let's say bourbon has to be made with at least 51% corn. Rye whiskey, 51% rye or more. So you have to follow these rules, or you can't call it that spirit. That's kind of denomination of origin in a nutshell. It gets much deeper than that. With tequila, it has to be made in either Jalisco, the entire state of Jalisco. There's actually a town called Tequila, Jalisco, where it originated. And then there's 4 other smaller regions of 4 other states that it can be made in. And for mezcal, they didn't have any denomination of origin. Then they wanted to create some structure. So I think it's up to 9 states now mezcal can be made in Mexico. They keep adding to it. And then 3 of these states overlap with tequila, so they can be made in the same state. So that's your denomination of origin there. And the last thing I want to mention about tequila and mezcal is this legend of the worm. And sometimes you'll see in movies there'll be like a worm in the tequila bottle, which is completely inaccurate. The worm never goes in the tequila bottle, it always goes in the mezcal bottle. And this is a marketing ploy in the 20th century, and the Americans went crazy over it. They loved the worm in the bottle. They thought it was great. Technically, it's a larva that gets onto the agave plant, causes diseases on there and everything. It's not really a worm, but that's what they did. They threw it in there. Some people even said it was flavorful. Never tried it myself. Maybe you can try it if you want. But that is it in a nutshell. That's the difference between mezcal and tequila. There you go, Jody. I hope you enjoyed. If any of you have another question or suggestion or request from me, make sure to email me at dave@therealbarman.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check me out at therealbarman.com. And I'll see you soon. I'm out.